This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, everybody. I'm really glad that you are here. I hope so that you enjoy your holiday and now you are preparing new information. Our today topic is about the small details in individual technique, and I am really glad that Per Tuesberg have a time on us, and because he is today lecturer and he is a guy who is really responsible to players development in Pixel Wallenstam. So I think so that it will be really good. And now it's about Per. So Per, you are ready?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's good. And for everybody, please, Per wanted your questions during the seminar. So if you have some questions, please just write it to chat, and we will be more interactive on this system.
Yes.
Now it's yours.
Yes, hello everybody. I will show my face. There, I hope you can see me. I will soon move over to the PowerPoint and the video, but this is me, the way I look. I might go back to this video as or camera as well to show some details with the stick. But hello everybody, I hope you're fine and you're well in these corona times. It's tough for everybody. We'll get through this. I will now try to screen to mirror my screen.
Yeah, sorry, it's on me. Yeah, no, it's okay.
Marek, can you tell me when if this is working?
Yeah, it's working. We can see.
It's working. Because I will give me just a minute. This is the first time I'm doing this, so give me just a minute. But I think we'll. Can we see the PowerPoint now, Marek?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
We can see.
Yeah, so I think we'll start. And as Marek said, feel free to write the questions as as I'm talking, and if there are some more advanced questions, maybe we'll go in the end. But start and try. We can try to answer the question as we go along. So let's go. First of all, this is me. I'm 37 years old. I'm a former player in the SSL and the under 19 national team. I was a coach from age 27. Last 6 years, I've been with the Pixbo Wallenstam and the Swedish women's national team as video coach and being in the stands watching the games. Currently also developing Swedish Floorball Federation's new coach education. Is coming out pretty soon, so we're working on that, and I'm a part of that team as well. Okay, so here we go. The topic is small technique and small details in technique, and I will go through my thoughts on what is technique and how do you define it, and then we move to the video. So we will go from definitions and the tools of technique, different tools, and then using technique in play and games. We'll watch some video clips for at least 20 minutes, I think. A little thoughts about practice technique and some Q&As at the end as well, questions and answers. This PowerPoint is just like more for my memory to what we were talking about, so it's a bit sloppy, but I think we'll get through this. Give me just a second here. I have to move my go like that. So technique in general, it's shooting, passing, and ball handling in game situations. And I think it's important to stress that it's in game situations that we use the technique, not just when we're standing alone in the practice. We have to use the technique in game situations. So main focus will be in ball handling, but some passing and shooting as well, as you will see. But I think the main focus might be a little more about the general ball handling. So the first detail is the soft, flexible hands and wrists. We have, I think I have three main technique tools, and the first is the soft, flexible hands and wrists, which means that the soft touch and flexible hands and wrists will control the blade in every direction, which in turn will control the ball in every direction. So if you are able to turn the stick and your wrist in every direction with soft, flexible hands, then you can control the ball in every direction, and therefore you have a more control of the ball in the game. Soft, flexible hands and wrist will also help the precision and accuracy in passing and shooting and every ball handling. If you were to think of a game like throwing darts, you will not throw the dart. It's a precision game, sports. You will not throw the dart with the whole body. You will use your wrists and your fingers to throw the dart. It's small muscles, and with small muscles you get more precision and more accuracy. So power comes from big muscles, and precision and accuracy come from small muscles. And it's also flexible, and hands and wrists will also be useful for creating speed in passing and shooting. You can get a real good movement in the wrists, like putting the final touch in a shot is like releasing your shot with the hands and wrists. I get a question here. How important is for you one hand or two hand hold the stick? I will come to that just in a second. So it's a very good question. We will come to that really soon. With the last point here, with the soft, flexible hands, is the last down here is separate hands and arms from body, and that creates a freedom to move. If you always use your hands in the same relation to where your body is standing, you can't move around with your feet and your upper body. So if you can separate hands and arms from body, that's really good, and you will separate hands and arms from body even more when we come to this. The question was one and two hands on the stick. So being able to play with both one and two hands on the stick allows the player to handle many different situations. It gives freedom for the player to twist and turn body in every direction. And it must be a goal, especially with the younger players, to be able to handle the ball in as many directions with both one and two hands on the stick. And in the long run, 360 degrees around the body. So if you draw a circle around the body, the more you can handle the ball in every position in that circle, far away from the body, close to the body, the more versatile and able to handle different situations will the player be. Of course, they need to have two hands on the stick when they need to be strong in a lot of passing and shooting, and there requires two hands on the stick. But telling a player to use just two hands on the stick, it's always two hands on the stick, then you will destroy the creativity and the versatility that this player need to handle the ball in every aspect of the game. And we will see that in the video, that one hand on the stick is really important in handling complex game situations. But it's soft hands, and it's one and two hands on the stick around the body. And for the third tool, it's moving with ball 360 degrees as well. So it's moving with the ball in all directions will give the players more freedom to move, avoiding opponents and finding free spaces. So 360 degrees movement includes moving sideways and backwards with the ball, not only straight ahead. I think there's way too many drills and talking about running forward just in a straight line, just practicing the straight lines instead of this 360 complex more movements. And if you add head and vision with the heads up, with the vision up, and being able to see the play and the game while moving in all direction is a really, really good tool to become a really versatile player and in elite level. So the final goal is moving with ball 360 degrees around in every direction and being able to play with the head up, watching the game. So that's basically the three tools that every other technique is just sub skills from these three skills: the hands, the 1 and 2 hands on the club, and the moving with the ball in all directions. So we move ahead to something.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Per. Yeah. I have one question about this.
Yeah.
You have some advice for our trainers how to teach this, or something? It's just about the consistency, about that you are focusing all the time about it, or do you have some more advice?
Yeah, I will come to this at the end. I will talk a little bit more about the practice of these skills. So we'll come to that. Is that a good answer, or?
Yeah, perfect. Sorry.
Yeah, continue. That's okay. It's okay. But these were the three main tools, and now to something we call beautiful and functional technique. If we talk about these beautiful technique moves, these Zorro moves, these toe drags, volley dribbles, you name it, there's a lot of different really cool special techniques that people are using to get past their opponents and score. And I think this is the part of the entertainment, and it's really, really important that every player needs to develop and have fun and creativity in using these fun moves. But these are not the moves that's the foundation of floorball. I work a lot with youth in 15 to 18, and there's a lot of good moves in Zorros, in toe drags, in this entertainment category of technique, but they aren't that strong in the foundation of 1 hand, 2 hand handling with backhand, forehand, the basics of technique. And we have a problem, I'm sure in every country, but I think in Sweden we have a big problem that there's a lot of focus on the entertainment, and when the players come to senior levels, they have really struggled with using the basics, foundations, functional technique. So we go to the foundation of floorball, the functional technique, which is effective and precise ball handling, shooting and passing as well, but it's effective and precise. It's not flashy at all. It's just 1 and 2 hands on the club, 360 degrees around the body. It's soft hands, it's 360 degrees movement with ball, and it's heads up. And it's doing this with in high speed, in the complex environment in a game. And it's not this easy, of course, but these are the structural basic tools of being able to play on high level, is doing these basic things in high speed. So looking at top 10 list of the best players in the world, I think everyone there is a strong functional technique players. You have Emil Johansson, Christer Savonen, Nico Salo, all these players, Tobias Gustafsson, they're all really basic, strong, functional technique, not that flashy players. It also goes for Matej Jędryszak, Marek Benes, Jan Zaug, Tim Braillard, the players from Swiss and Czech Republic as well. They are really strong in this basic functional technique, and that's why they're so good. And now we come to the why should we have good technique? Why is it important? Yes, to make good decision, to be a good decision maker. It doesn't matter how good technique you have if you can't make good decisions, and good decisions in high tempo and a complex game environment. It's what to do with the ball, how to do it, and when to do it. Is it dribble, pass, or shoot? Is playing easy, covering the ball, or making a difficult move? Where are the dangerous free spaces? We're getting back to this. The best players in the world are not this entertainment technique. They are not. That's not why they are so good. It's because they have a good functional technique, and it makes easy for them to make good decisions in this high-speed game. And that's important for all our coaches to know that, because that's the foundation of the game. It's not making a sorrow move. That's not a foundation of the game. That's a little topping of the cake. So we go on. That's basically ball handling, shooting as well. It's in really basic terms. It's speed in shot release, one-timers or quick release. That's so much more important when you're coming to high levels than shooting hard. It's hitting target. You can't score if you're not hitting target. And the ability to use this in game situations. It's when to shoot, where to shoot, how to shoot. And it's 9 out of 10 times it's with speed and you hitting target. We can watch all the great goal scorers in our national league, the SSL, and even those who have the great sweeper shots, shooting hard, most of their goals are coming from quick shot release, one-timers, being in the right place, and hitting target. Much more than being able to shoot hard or hitting the top corner every time. Because the goalies will read and they will know if you only have one shot and you're taking too much time to get that shot away from the stick. So it's speed and it's accuracy and it's understanding when to use your shot and how to use it, which shot to use. For passing as well and receiving, passing and receiving of the ball, of course, one-touch passing, forehand and backhand. It's with precision and quality. It's basics, but it's so important when you're coming to the elite levels of the game. It's the ability to play with the ball in the air, to lift the ball over a stick, to handle bouncing balls. Your first touch, move while receiving, not standing still when you have the ball. When you get the ball, first touch is from the space you're standing into a new space. It creates a tempo, and it's really not about the flashy techniques. It's just basics and doing a thing with quality and high speed. I think this is the main thing I want to say when we're coming to watching the videos. And the videos will show more about these basic skills in game situations. So I will go to the video and give me just a minute here. Okay, we try this. Marek, you have any comments on the video is up or running, I think?
I'm not sure, but I just it was really quick the last slide in your presentation about the advice, but maybe you will talk
Yeah, I
the
will come back.
video about it.
I'll come back. So
Okay.
that will be last time. Yes, so we'll go with 6 minutes video. I will show them as slowly as I can as well, and we'll talk and discuss about these details in this. It's mostly from the SSL, men's SSL. It's some clips from the women's national teams as well. And we go first, we call this entertainment. The really nice skills that this game needs, and the high profile players who are able to do these kinds of things. It's Valdemar Alroth, player in Storvreta, a really nice breakaway goal, sorrow move. And these are, of course, very important for our sport to thrill the audience, and creating high-profile players is really important. But not many players are able to be this entertaining and still handle the functional technique as well. Valdemar Alroth is one of a few players in Sweden who can do both, and then he can compete in the highest level. But for sure, there are a lot of Czech players as well as in Sweden. They are playing all these beautiful thorough moves, but they can't handle ball in high tempo, and they're playing in the lower divisions. So we need the basics first to be able to play on high level. So functional technique, just examples. It's just interesting to show this. It's a goal for Darlan against Mullsjö. We have a pass, we have another pass, we have a receive, and a quick shot. I will go through these. We have some passing, Marek Benes to Gustav Fritzell, scores. I will get back to these goals. We have another goal from Darlan, moving the ball fast, finding open player, scoring. First of all, of course, this is entertaining too. It's high tempo, it's passing and shooting, and it's beautiful goals. But none of these goals are, what can I call it? It's not advanced skills in technique. It's not difficult to move and pass. It's the difficult thing is moving and passing in this high tempo speed. The sorrow move is an advanced skill that you need to practice a lot, but this is just high tempo movement of forehand backing, easy technique, if you know what I mean. It's one touch pass from here, beautiful, turning the body, being able to move your body 360 degrees, awareness of the space. It's receiving the ball here on the backhand, one touch in high tempo, and the second touch is the quick release top corner. Not any fancy moves, just really quality, high precision moves in high tempo while playing in this complex game environment. Same thing here. It's some one-timers, passings. Marek Benes totally aware of Gustav Fritzell's movement. We can watch Gustav Fritzell turning from having the back towards the play here in the middle, turning, focusing, receiving the ball, one hand with quality. It looks so easy, but it's in so high tempo and such a complex environment. And the next move is the backhand shot. And the same here, Last goal, it's moving the ball quick. Number 21 with the ball down here is Linus Holmgren, a fantastic young player. He's so very, very good. One touch, backhand pass, down to Kristoffer Andersson, receiving the ball, able to keep his body faced towards the dangerous spaces, not turning against the board or not getting scared of the players coming in front of him, and finding the open space. Such a beautiful and entertaining way of playing the game, and it's not advanced technique, it's just using the basic techniques in high-speed game. So we go to wrist angles, and the first thing I said was soft, flexible hands, and this shows how important it is to be able to move your stick in every direction and getting freed from your body. And I hope this will show you. I can roll it. It's slow motion and it's zoomed. I will go back because the player receiving the ball is the one we're going to look at. I'm moving frame by frame here, so that's why it takes a little time. The player receiving the ball, the passer here, number 14, is Malte Lundmark, one of the best young players, born 2001, I think, or 2000. Is fantastic, playing to another young player, Emil Ruud, who's just as fantastic. Okay, the receiving of this ball. I'm sorry, but here we go. There. I don't know if you can see my marker, but I want you to look at the receiver.
Yes, we can see.
You can see a marker?
It's no problem. Yeah.
Perfect. Then you see this hand here, this arm, his right arm, his upper arm on the stick is 90 degrees parallel to the ground. That means he needs to turn his wrist in a really strong way to get the stick down to the ball and be able to turn the stick and the blade, because the blade controls everything. The more you can turn the blade in every single direction that's possible for your wrists to move, the more versatile and able to handle the ball in different aspects you will be. So here it shows that he's fully capable of moving the wrist in a really strange way to get the ball to contact the blade in that direction. And this he can do without turning his body in any direction he doesn't want to. If he wasn't able, you can see his hands moving. If he wasn't able to turn the stick in this direction, then he would have to turn his feet and his whole body and facing maybe towards the referee. If he was only to have the blade controlling in one direction, he would have to turn his whole body. Now he can remain with his body facing inwards toward the dangerous space, still using really soft, flexible wrists, moving to the inside, and being able to make the next decision. And this we see a lot of younger players. Unfortunately, a lot of women's players who haven't played with the ball a lot when they were younger. They are really stiff in the hands, and they have to turn their whole body every time they handle the ball. So the more you can turn the wrists and controlling the blade that way, the more flexible and versatile you will be in the game. And it's so important to understand this, that the turning of the blade controls how your body is going to move, and in that way will define how can you use your spaces, how can you be effective in different directions of the field. Here as well, it's Lucas Bernhardsson, young player in Jönköping, moving, really strong running, center running, gets the pass from the boards, and he's one-handed. You can see the angle in his wrists, choosing to control the blade and the ball in that way, to be able to move straight forward. Instead of turning his whole body towards the players, he can just continue running using these wrist angles. So the wrist angle, we'll get back to that, but they control everything in how the player will handle the ball. As I said, we will get back to that in the end after the video. Okay, some more examples. One-handed play, receiving the ball. So one-handed, we don't have to talk about the two-handed. I think everybody knows that the two-handed is good for using when passing and shooting and doing stuff with the ball. But one-handed play, it's receiving the ball. It's so easy and basic, but it's so beautiful. Emil Johansson, world's best player. He's not flashy in any way, but he's so effective. He comes, he's right here on left side. Decides, okay, I want to bring this ball with me. Playing with one hand, never using two hands. He can, playing with one hand allows him to free him from his body and feet, can still move straight ahead, but just chooses to bring the ball with him with one hand instead of turning his whole body, slowing down, being much less effective. He can use his hands, getting a lot of speed, still playing with one hand here, still playing with one hand here. Now he decides, now I have to use two hands because I'm going to pass the ball. So you see that he chooses when to play with one hand for getting this high tempo game, and then using two hands to pass, and Galante can score. Johan Samuelsson, same here. Getting the pass a little bit behind him, instead of turning his whole body, just uses one hand, brings the ball with him, one touch, two touch, pass, and a score. And these, as I said, not any flashy players, not any flashy moves, but just really effective accuracy and tempo and high speed. And this is a good example. Maybe thinking about creating drills and how you practice. You can question how many of your drills and practices, passing, running and passing, are focusing on passing on the backhand. Are you telling your players to receive the ball with one hand on the stick? Or you may be putting in some air passes for them to control? Instead of just focusing on every pass should be on the forehand, it needs to be on the exact same space. The problem is it makes a great drill. If everybody passes on the blade with two hands, it looks fantastic when you look at it. But it's not a game environment, because in the game the pass will never always come on the forehand. It will come on the backhand. It will come bouncing. So I'm sure it will be much more effective of more practice on getting passes behind you, getting passes that are bouncing, even in the regular drills for development and long-term development. In the short term, it doesn't look that good, but it keeps the player to think, to be able to handle different situations on the field much more effectively. So that's just a way to think about drills in everything. Are we practicing because it looks good, or are we practicing what the player will be facing in the game, which is much more complex than a regular drill? We go with more one-handed play. Covering the ball is so basic, but it's good to see. It's Varberg, Filip Erheden. This player is always such a good young player, born 2002. Just covering the ball, playing with one hand, running, just keeping his other hand, just make sure he covers the ball from the defender. Still one hand. Now it goes to two hands, and quick shot release, low far post. It's such a good example again of using really basic technique, but it's high speed. It's running with the ball, one hand, two hands, and a quick shot. Covering the ball, I go a little bit faster now. This is Simon Svensson, another Varberg player. Just the quality of the video isn't the best here, but using one hand, and the other hand, his left hand is trying to fight away the opponent, turning. Now what's his left hand doing? Keeping balance. Of course, this is not always okay from the refs, but if you have one hand free, you can fight off the other defender in a sensible way. You can keep your balance in a better way, and you can turn. And now he's using two hands to find the pass to the post, and it's eventually going to be a goal. So one hand, two hands. The other hand, the free hand, will be able to be used in other ways by keeping balance and running. And so one hand, two hands. It's really good to think about. One-handed play, reaching the ball. Another way to getting bigger, getting the more reach, to be able to keep the ball and to win the ball in more situations. This is Marek Benes, just so amazingly good at these one-handed plays. I don't know if you can see, but I think you can see him. The ball is in the air. He's behind his defender. He will hit the ball and win the ball with one hand in the air, and control next now with two hands, and feeding the ball to Gustav Fritzell, who will score. And the same here, it's Marek Benes as well. I will slow it down. Ball falls out from the situation, and Marek reaches with one hand and ships the ball, plays in the air over to Gustav Fritzell, who scores on the far post. And it's such a good example of being able to use the one hand with such skill and precision to win the ball and set up your teammates. Go with one more clip on the one hand. It's Anna Wik, world's best women's player for this year. In the middle with the number 5. The ball is in the air above her right now. And she is so good at these situations, just finding the ball in the air with one hand before anybody else, just first touch, wins the ball forward, and we can win the ball in the next situation and score. But it's again this be able to reach, being able to be a big player with your reach with one hand and two hands and win the ball. Okay, we go to ball handling. It's 360 degrees movement, which means you move with the ball 360 degrees. We're going to look at Martin Östholm, the Pixbo and national team player. Fantastic moves with the ball. He's so quick, he's so versatile, he's so agile, and he can move in every direction, not just forward. He can go backwards as well. This, I will go in slow motion. It goes forward, facing the opponent. Here, a lot of players will turn their back. Okay, they will not find any passing alternatives. It's so easy for the player to turn their back and go and back again, not seeing the whole field, but he will take one step back, facing the dangerous areas and spaces, and he's finding Marek Benes on the far post for the empty netter. And it's not about moving 10 steps backwards and 10 steps sideways, but it's just be able to stop, keeping your head up, moving 1-2 step backwards, and still be able to play and make high precision, high accuracy plays that makes difference in games. These are the difference makers and what they're good at. We'll go one more time. Steps forward. Okay, stop. Don't have speed to move around. Take one step back and find the diagonal pass. And we go to women's example. It's the world's best defender for this year, Ida Sundberg. Fantastic player. She has such poor technique in terms of sort of moves and everything. She can just backhand, forehand, and the basic moves, but she's such a good decision maker, never afraid of having a player in her face, playing with against her opponent. Now she moves backwards to bring her defender up, and she creates a lot of space. If you see my marker here, she creates this huge space over here. She turns around and can use this space with a good pass. And this is, I will get back to her because she's amazing, not in her beautiful technique, but in her basic function technique and her decision making. Dribbles. Of course, I can show a lot of entertainment, beautiful moves, but there are even more important moves are the basic dribbles, beating your opponent in the most effective way. Of course, we go to Emil Johansson, who is such a master of this. Gets the ball on the court, mid-court. I'll go slowly here. Just as Martin Östholm did, just lets his opponent come really close, still having the courage and the calmness and the coolness to stay face forward. Just a little fake in one way and just going the other way. I will roll this in real speed if you want to see as well. We go again. Just a little fake and the move and the change of tempo and change of direction. It's not any fancy technique, it's just really good understanding of what's happening, what are my opponent doing, and where should I go. Same here, just a little move to the side, goes around the defender, goes around and scores as well. Okay, we go to this clip, which is basically just the same. This is from a girl. She's born 06, I think. She's called Nelly Serina. She's a really good player here in Gothenburg. And it's the same skill on this level as well. She's, what is it? She's here, maybe here, 13, 14 years old. Being able to wait for the defender to launch and try to attack the ball. And then just move to the side. One hand on the ball, one hand on the stick, goes around the defender. And again, I tell you, it's not about the fancy technique, it's about understanding the situation, understanding and reading your opponent's moves. That's the important and difficult skill, not the ball handling. Last one here, Emil Johansson, fantastic example as well. Just moves to the inside, the opponent falls. We show it better here. I'll take it in slow motion. just chilling with the ball, having no stress, waiting for the opponent. Okay, now he lunges, then I go the other way. And move to the inside. It's so basic that, okay, the opponent goes this way, I go the other way. It's not basically even a move in any directions more than waiting for the opponent. And that's just showing you how basic things could be if you're reading the play at this level. Of course, there are many other moves that you can make, but they are more of the entertainment than the functionals. Some basics here: move while receiving the ball, such an important aspect of the game. This clip again: move while receiving, never standing still. Bring the ball with you to new space. Here is Jan Saug, gets the ball along the boards. First touch forward, beats his opponent, can make a good run into space, and deliver the ball, and we have a goal. Filip Eriksson as well, fantastic young player, gets the ball along the boards here in the white. First touch to the inside, beating two opponents and letting the ball over to the other side, and a goal. So move into space, just an important, really important basic technique thing, more than standing still and handling the ball. Turning as well, really basic, turning with the ball. It's more about understanding what is my opponent doing than having this fancy technique. Emil Johansson will play catch with Mullsjö here, just turning and turning. He's really strong, he's really agile, turning with the ball, keeping the ball from the opponent. We will show Marek Benes again. This is one of his strong futures as well. He gets the ball over here, just control the ball. Here he recognizes, okay, the defender is on to my left. He's a little bit too much to the left. Just an easy turn, and giving the defender empty netter over here. But it's such more, again, about reading your opponent, where are the spaces, it's much more important than having this fantastic technique. It's basic technique. Here again, Albin Sjögren, fantastic player in Storvreta, just making sure I know when to turn, where to turn, just keeping control of where is my opponent, where the spaces are to get around him, and just turn in the right moment and making a pass to the center. We go a little bit shooting. As I said, it will not be that much of a shooting lesson, but here, great example. One-timers, shoot fast. The pass comes over to Tobias Gustafsson in Storvreta. He's able to move his feet and move his stick and shoot one-timer from that position. There's not any getting control of the ball, launching at the hardest shot you have is just getting the ball to the net as fast as possible, and that way you can score, since the goalie won't be able to make it. So one-timers as fast as possible. It's shooting past and through defenders. It's really important. Hitting target, hitting target, hitting target. Such an important skill in the game. Good give and go here. It's serious. Filip Björk, just heads up, and the fast wrister past the defender, and it ended up in a top corner. But it's so many not that good players who will be, okay, I'm going to shoot as hard as I can, and hopefully I will get past this defender, and it will end up at the defender, and the counterattack will be started in the other way. So shoot past the defender, get the ball to the net, very, very important, the higher level of play. It's a good drag shot, sweep shot here as well. Just step into the player and like literally put this shot against his shins and his legs, using your defender as the screen for the goalie. It's always really good detailing shooting. Yes, the sweep shot, the drag shot, it's what the younger players mostly use when they are running around and being this entertainment, having this entertainment focus, being okay, I'm going to shoot this ball into the top corner every time in practice. But the sweep shot is not always the best decisions in games. It's not the fastest shot, it's the hard shot. But we can look at the sweep shot and the drag shot with the good decisions. It's Dahlen and Victor Nystedt, just a small fake to the outside, moves to the inside, covers the ball. This is the sweep shot's biggest advantage. You can cover the ball when you have an opponent in your face. And it's a hard shot from the backcourt for the defender. Beautiful shot and a goal. So it's the further away you're from the goal, the better the drag shot will be used. Here's another use for the drag shot for the sweeper. It's when getting passes and you're turned faced against with the back against your goal. Then the sweep and the drag shot is fantastic. Here Kasper Hedlund, Mullsjö defender, comes in, gets the ball, has the ball to the back to the goal, and one move turns and shoots. Beautiful. Galante Karlström, fantastic, so good at choosing his the right time when to shoot drag and when to shoot quick. Here gets facing the goal, turns and shoots low, far post, and a goal. But he has the back against his back towards the goal. You can get the pass to the inside as well, really close to the net. This is a great shot to use turning and just sweep around and shoot when you have your defender in the back. So sweep shot, drag shot, and decision making. This is the biggest problem I see when youth players and lower level players. This is not the best example, but I think you will understand this. It's this player coming here, and he has a choice. He can use all this space, if you see my marker, moving inside to the space, creating better angles to shoot and to pass. Instead, he chooses to run more along the boards, covering the ball. And I can't understand why he covers the ball when he doesn't have any opponent to cover it from. So that's my main thing with the sweep shot, is why are you covering the ball when you don't have to cover it? So now he makes a mistake. It's I will answer that questions in a minute, but the same situation here. This player has a choice. He can either go to the inside to create better angles, or he can stay towards the referee with covering the ball in this sweeper drag shot position. This player chooses to move more to the inside, ball more in front of him, and choosing the wrist shot, placing the ball first post, beautiful goal. But the difference there is, why should you cover the ball when you don't have anything to cover from? And try always to take the best angles, to take the center spaces, instead of running towards the boards with the ball in your hook. What type of shot do you teach first? Oh, that's the first for the youngest players is they need to start using their wrist. I think wrist shots to understand how the wrist works, to get precision. It's so much better to start from the wrist shot, because if you know the wrist shots, then it should be a lot easier to go to the drag and sweep shot and just adding the wrist for precision in the end. A lot of players, especially women's, unfortunately as well, are being taught the drag shot, and they always use the drag shot and they can't shoot anything else. That means their whole body is they're using the whole body to move. It's a slow shot, and it's unfortunately not the best precision shot. And start with the wrist shot, because that's the fastest and the most useful shot in the most situations. But sweep and the wrist should you should be able to teach it practically parallel, I would think. But my expertise is not from the beginners and the youth, but more wrist shots in general. Okay, the last ones are decision making. So it's back to the whole essence of the game. It's making decisions in game. It's not about having this fantastic technique in training, in practice when you're alone. It's making decisions in complex game situations. So this is heads up and evaluate, pass or shoot. It's Johannes Wilhelmsson, the Höllviken star, who's been scoring a point in I don't know how many games. Is it 80 games straight? I think it's even more. It could be over 100 games. Maybe some of you know, but he's been scoring and scoring and scoring, making just goals and assists. He gets the ball here, has a free lane to the goal, but realizes, okay, I have my teammate in a better position, and gives him the empty netter. But it's back to that decision making. Should I shoot? Should I pass? What should I do? And he's so good at this, just coming in, just making the right decisions. When should I pass? When should I shoot? And he's scoring a lot of points. So back to wrap it up here. Ida Sundberg, the defender in Pixbo and national team, just a fantastic decision maker. Not any fancy technique at all, but she is the only player I've worked with, and she is amazing, that had said, I hate it when I have free spaces. When nobody is coming at me, I don't like that. I need players around me, opponents to come to me, so I know what to do, so I can turn and twist and play past them. She gets really stressed when she has a lot of time with the ball, and usually for every player it's the other way around. They are getting stressed when they have opponents in their faces, but she needs players in their face, because then she understands what to do. So that will make her the perfect playmaker from the backcourt. She just gets people to lunge at her, to chase her. Now Swiss, it's from the World Championship finals. They come up and try to stress her. She loves that. She turns and she finds open pass, and we can use the spaces behind to create this really good chance. And that's all because Ida is just getting the opponents to it's just like flies to the sugar, so that she can set up other players in a good situation. This is again great example. She doesn't know what to do. She needs someone to lunge at her, to come at her. They come at her, then she just uses one hand, covers the ball, and moves the ball to the other side where the space is created. And we can use the space to get a really free player in the end. And to wrap it up, the video part, This is the final goal in the decided goal in the sudden death of the World Championship. She's just, what should I do? Okay, I could go forward here. Finds this perfect pass through 4 players to Anna Wik, who has full control of where is Johanna Hultgren, and it's an empty goal, and it's such a beautiful floorball goal, and it's just basic positioning and passing, nothing fancy in difficult technique. So that's the video, and I will get back to the part where we can discuss a little about practice technique as the final slide here on the PowerPoint. And this, I would love it if there was like a perfect drill to practice the technique, but it's a complex game, and you need to have the fundamentals first, I think. And on your own, every player play with the ball, just have fun with the ball. And I will show you, I will go back to the video and show you an easy drill to get the hands and wrists move. But play with the ball, backhand, forehand, one hand, two hand, not just standing and doing one sort of move or one move, or try to bring in as many moves as possible and play with the ball around the body, one hand, two hand, turning and twisting your hands to handle the ball in different type of situations. So as for the second here, not too much isolated, and that's more for when you as a coach are thinking about technique practice. I believe in every sports we love the cones and we love the stationary dribble past this cone or this object instead of more moving defenders, maybe turn the club of the defender, maybe just using the feet of the defender if it's too difficult to have it stick as well. But the players need to dribble more moving objects and less stationary objects. Stationary objects, of course, good for some practices to getting the feel of the ball. Younger ages, of course, before they have this more developed technique, but older players shouldn't be dribbling cones for many long hours. They should be dribbling moving objects and handling the ball and trying to cover the ball from a defender. The main focus, the way I see the game for individual technique, the focus is getting every player to be comfortable one-on-one. And comfortable means not that they should move around like Emil Johansson or Martin Östholm, but they need to be comfortable having a player in their perimeter to turn and to be able to make good decisions when playing with the back towards the goals, or just being comfortable. But okay, here comes my defender. I'm not stressed. I'm just this is where I should move the ball according to our tactics or everything. But so many poor decisions comes from not being comfortable one-on-one, especially on lower levels and lower ages, that people get stressed because now here all of a sudden comes a player at me and I don't know what to do, or I panic with a poor pass, either in accuracy or in decision. So every player, if every player were really comfortable one-on-one, then you would have so much easier to creating a good tactics, because that would just mean that, okay, now we're in stress, now we're solving this situation this way, cover the ball, play against the boards, and we start over again. So it's more like a Ida Sundberg play that people need to love to have a player in their face and have the player close to them, an opponent close to them. And for long-term development, as everything else, let the players fail and discuss the solutions. for long-term development. Okay, next game we maybe need not so much failure, but for everyone who wants to develop players over time, youth players or older players, but in the long run, more of a fail, trial and error, and discuss the solutions, then okay, that player can't do this, he should never do this, or she should never do this. That's not a good way to help the players develop the creativity to solve situations in an easy way. So that's basically my practice technique tips. And I will show you one video of getting these soft hands going. It could look like this. So this is me showing. It's really basic, but it's not easy. But it's turning the blade around the ball in this way. It's a much better way to standing and play with the ball than just dribble on the floor, because when you're turning the blade in this way, you have to use your hands and wrists, and I will show you. You can go like this as well, backhand, forehand, just juggle the ball backhand, forehand, twisting the blade, balancing the ball on the blade. And this is why this is such a good drill. I will take it slowly. Look at my hands now. You can see my left hand is barely gripping the club in this frame over here. And my right hand, the upper hand, is turning the stick in this direction. So now my hand is fully turned in one way. Now my right hand turns the stick back again. And in this way, you can also see how I'm using my fingers, because it's basically about using my fingers. You can see now I'm barely holding the stick at all with my left hand. Really gentle grip with my fingers, because I want the upper hand to twist the stick. And this is it's really fun to see. You can see how I'm holding with my fingers the upper, the right hand as well. It's barely, it's just like with a little grip, turning the stick. And you can try yourself. It's just, if you want to turn the stick, you can't have hard wrists. You need to use your fingers to turn the stick. And every good player, regardless if it's Sorrow or making good receiving of the ball in high tempo, are using the hands and the fingers to control the blade and control the stick and control the ball in the end. And poor players with poor techniques growing up are using stiff hands. They are holding the stick so tight they can't turn the stick in different directions, and then therefore they would have to move their body in different directions, and that would slow them down. The more they have to turn their body to be able to handle the ball, the slower their game tempo will be. So hands and fingers and wrists for handling the ball, basic fundamental technique. It's really important to get these hands and fingers working with the ball. So that's basically what I had to say in like general technique this subject. Are there any more questions or any things we should discuss, so you can write? But I hope that it's been quite thorough, and it's been easy to understand the basics of functional technique.
I have a question about how to teach the ball a stick, because I think, and it's just my opinion, that Czech players are not able to work with ball of the stick, and they have not a really strong shot actually.
They are poor at shooting.
So the question is how to teach them how to bow the stick with a shot.
Okay. Oh, oof. That's a more complicated one. I'm not sure I could give you a really good answer, because my thoughts on this are the ball in floorball is too light. So it's too easy for young players to lift the ball, to make the ball go in an okay direction without flexing the stick, without using the shaft and the blades flexion. If you look at hockey instead, you need to put the pressure on the stick and the blade to get the puck to come out of the air. So therefore you have this trial and error. If you can't do that, you can't shoot. But you can shoot okay by just sweeping around and not using, as you said, not using the flexion of the stick in a good way. So I could imagine if you try to fill the ball with plastic bags, making it heavier, then the players would need to use more of the floor to use the flexion to getting the harder shots. But I think you need to show how with your hands how the blade is flexing, and that it could be used as a help to get the harder shot. One way you can think about it, and I think I've explained to some of our players this way, that the blade and the stick of the club should be coming in like an airplane coming into land. It's not because many players are using really like steep angles, hitting the floor really hard, and all the energy of the stick is getting right down to the floor, instead of like sweeping, still coming into the ground, but more of a sweeping motion, like the airplane is landing, rather than the airplane is crashing, if you know what I mean. But this is not my best expertise, the shooting techniques and the flexion of the stick. It's not my strongest part of the game.
Thank you. Okay, somebody else? Somebody have some questions? Okay, it's look like that you just tell us everything.
Yeah, but I can say that I can hang around a couple of minutes more. I will stay here for like 15 minutes. So if you find some questions or something you want to question, I will see it and I can answer it. But I think for the basics, I think it's a quite good foundation of understanding basic techniques.
Okay, perfect. So maybe for everybody, it can be good if they just can thinking about it, because tomorrow we have a other session, but in Czech. And if somebody will have some questions, I can send you, for example, on Friday, or it doesn't matter, later.
Yeah. That's just fine.
Okay, so I really thank you. It was perfect for me. I have so many notes, and I wish you luck in Sweden, and take care about you and your family.
Yeah,
and
the
have
same
a nice
to you,
day.
Same to all of you. Yeah, it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. We will stay in contact.
Yeah, goodbye.
Bye bye. Tak já vám děkuju.